Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, 24 athletes to fly Nigeria flag at the Paralympic Games. And U.S. tops the medals table at the just concluded Paris 2024. And coming in from the world of football, the Nigerian Football Federation set to announce new Super Eagles coach. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from the break.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human traffickers.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
No agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk, and as usual, we'll start from the local scene here, where Delta State has emerged champions of the first Edo State Invitational Swimming Championship just concluded at the Samuel Osaibovo Stadium in Benin City only at the weekend. We saw Delta State emerging with 12 gold medals, 8 silver, and 7 bronze medals. The YY Swimming Club finished second with 7 golds, 6 silver, and 3 bronze medals, while host Edo State came in third in 4 golds, 9 silver, and 6 bronze medals. Interestingly, Jimmy Oshinawo of the Swimming Club of Bayelsa State, Ogun State, Oyo, Rivers, and Akwa Swimming Club, and of course Kano, all finished 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th respectively. Some of the events decided, Okadakas of the YY Swimming Club of Lagos won the 200 meters individual medley, that's in the women, and in a time of 2 minutes, 45.94 seconds. Premobore Kimagia of Edo State clocked 2 minutes, 53 seconds, 53.73 seconds to place second, while Gift Obodo of Bayelsa State finished third in a time of 3 minutes, 15.63 seconds. In the men's category, Shadrach Simon of the YY Swimming Club of Lagos won in a time of 2 minutes, 30.48 seconds. Dino Ebarakumo of River State came second in a time of 2 minutes, 32.31 seconds. Focados Kingsley of Edo State came third in a time of 2 minutes, 34.35 seconds. In the boys 50-meter freestyle developmental category, Aida Dumeji of Delta State came first in a time of 26.323 seconds. Titus Precious of Edo State came second in a time of 27.06 seconds. Lion Olise Endurance of Delta in the third place position with a time of 27.76 seconds. Enough of swimming. Let's quickly look at what's happening from the world of cricket. I can inform you that Nigeria's main under-19 cricket team, the Junior Yellow Greens, are back in Division 1 of the African qualifiers of the 2026 International Cricket Conference Under-19 World Cup, which will be played in Zimbabwe and Namibia. Nigeria defeated Rwanda by 7 wickets in the third place match of the Division 2 qualifiers on Sunday. That was in Tanzania. The winner ensures that Nigeria, who took the third spot along with Sierra Leone and host Tanzania, ahead of the next phase of the qualifiers. It suffered a 9-wicket loss against Sierra Leone in the semi-finals. During the tournament in Tanzania, the Junior Yellow Greens, that's the under-19 side of Nigeria, set a tournament record with a commanding win over Mozambique at the Ghanaian round, where they delivered the highest total of the tournament with 362 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in 50 overs. Now let's quickly move on a little bit and of course look at what had happened at the Olympics, where in a remarkable display of vision and leadership and innovation, the Lagos State Sports Commission has hosted the Lagos Paris Olympic 2024 Sports Economy Roundtable at the station. Of course, we know what has happened at the Paris game, where the team Nigeria came back without a medal. And exploring the new frontiers and business opportunities in sports, there is a general of Lagos State Sports Commission, Lekon Fatudo, who led the charge at the high-profile event held at the sideline of the Paris Olympic, highlighted that the commitment of the governor of Lagos State's administration to sports development and in vision for excellence and global cooperation. The roundtable event will delve into various aspects of sports development with a particular focus on exports, a rapidly growing sector that has captured global attention, brought together an impressive array of stakeholders, including high-ranking government officials and investors, to explore the opportunity for e-sports. And I think this is a new dimension to sports. We just hope this will begin to come up with resolutions. I'm talking about the Paris Olympic Games on Sports Talk this hour. Despite Team Nigeria's poor outing at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, of course, we know it was clear that we didn't win any medal. There was cause to smile as the head coach of the country's female basketball team, the Tigress, Rene Wakama, was named the best coach of the Women's Olympic Basketball Tournament. Of course, Nigeria parading 88 athletes in 12 sports. Nigeria emerged 19th. Nigeria's appearance at the 19 Olympic Games ended in a total fiasco. The team, of course, failed to win a medal. We came to win a medal at all. And of course, the event we came to a conclusion a few hours ago after 16 days of intense jostling for medals. It's one of Nigeria's worst outing. Of course, we look at it in the over 77 years of Nigeria's participation in Olympic Games. This is like the 17th time we've not had any medal since participating at the Helsinki Games that started in 1952. We know that in Mexico 1968, in Moscow 1980, South Korea 1988, London 2012, and of course the Paris 2024 were all medalists for Nigeria. And I think it is high time we begin to find out clearly what happened and what we'll do so that at least we can be consistent. At the Tokyo Olympic Games, we saw Nigeria, winning 2 medals. At least we should have improved on it, but we didn't. But without medal, we had some respect coming from the way of Rene Wakama, the lady on your screen there, who was voted as the best female coach of basketball at the Olympic Games. That follows Nigeria's qualification all the way to the quarterfinal stage. This is the first time any African country, whether male or female, had gotten to the quarterfinal stage of the basketball league. And the lady you see on the screen there actually was the supremo to saying that Australia, ranked number 3 in the female basketball, was defeated, and of course number 5, Canada as well, was defeated. Nigeria was ranked outside of the top 10, but because of her prowess, she was able to get Nigeria, to qualify for the quarterfinal stage, and that's really big. It's never happened before, beating 2 top sides taking Nigeria to the quarterfinal stage, and I think this is really worthy of the award. She now the best female coach at the Olympics. What do they say? The Olympic Games is the biggest sporting event in the world, and so when you win an award at the biggest sporting event, then you should be taken seriously. She's only gotten the job of this supremo of the basketball team just about 13 months ago, but she's been winning. At our very first outing with the Afro Basketball Championship, she did win the Afro Basketball Championship, then went ahead now to qualify Nigeria for the Olympics. As if the qualification was not enough, she as well went ahead to winning 2 top sides in the basketball. She only fell short to the United States of America, to France, the host side, in the bid. So, but again, getting to the quarterfinal stage, that's really, really big. She lost out by just about 12 points, which was respectable to the biggest side, and of course the winner of the gold medal, the United States of America. Well, looking at how Nigeria performed at Olympic Games, especially in basketball, it wasn't only Uhuru for the female basketball team coach, Rene Wakama. Of course, a lot of people have been giving commendations. She's from Rivers State, Nigeria, doing well. And people think now that maybe local coaches should be given attention. Yes, Rene Wakama is local, no doubt about it, but she's based in the United States. She played basketball in the United States of America, and of course, that had initial coaching experience in the United States of America. And so she's not been here. It has to do with equipment. It has to do with the way talents are discovered. It has to do with proper funding, how these talents are honed. For athletes going to the Olympic Games, do they have some kind of insurance scheme? Do they have a situation where these athletes, apart from the insurance scheme, they are pensionable? Okay, if they are no longer involved in sports, what do they do? Thereafter. So I think the sports ministry, beyond trying to look at evident flaws at the last competition, they should go think and look deep into reasons why Nigeria has returned without medals on 17 occasions in over 77 years of our participation at the Olympic Games. Really, really deep, I must say. Investigation must go on. And for those who, sawed off Favour Philly and others who could not compete in some events, I think someone has to be punished for such flaws. 8 years of our best was wasted because of that. But it's not only Rene Wakama who clearly is on the showcase after the Olympic Games for Team Nigeria. Ezine Kalu as well was recognized and of course nominated into the All-Star second team of the Women Olympic Tournament. And Ezine Kalu has been phenomenal in these Olympic Games. Very, very, I must tell you. The point guard was a major force behind the team as they became the first African team to play in the quarterfinal stage of the Olympic Games. She averaged about 18.5 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 4.0 assists, not forgetting her 2.5 steals per game. And that is by any standard high number. Ezinikali, one of the girls experienced in the team, that was almost axed because of maladministration. But through the instrumentalities of Rene Wakama, was able to return back to the squad and have made a difference there. And I think we really have to ensure that, Lord, yes, we have won, we have gotten to quarter-final stage. But again, this is a team that went to the Olympic Games without their captain. Their captain was forced to pull out of the Olympic Games. We must ask questions and know why the captain was not part of the team. Maybe could have gotten more accolades apart from being emerging as the best side at the competition for Africa, both male and female. I think a lot should be asked about this basketball team because they have the potentials and they can get better there. And talking about asking questions and knowing what to do aftermath of the abysmal failure at the just concluded Olympic Games in Paris, Minister of Sports Development John Eno has said that the country's apex body has swung into a review or a process of Nigeria's poor performances at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games as the country looks forward to the Paralympic Games, which is just coming up in a few days from now in the same Paris. Of course, we know that they are the 33rd Olympic Games held between July 26th and August 11th in France. Nigeria failed to win a medal despite strong representation with 88 athletes in 12 sports, matching the worst outing, which was our very first in Helsinki in 1952. If you remember, we didn't win medal as well in 1965. Neither did we in 1960 in Rome. The Mexico 1968 event was another abysmal failure. We failed as woefully too at the Moscow 1980 Olympic Games. Seoul 1988 was another medalist Olympic Games for Nigeria. And only recently at the London 2012 Games, we didn't win any medals at all. But Sports Minister Eno, who had earlier commented on the team's Nigerian sport performance at the multi-sports complex event, of course, took to his X platform to admit that the outing could have been better. And the minister was also, who was appointed about a year ago, also said that the ministry had few months to prepare for the Olympic Games and other major competition. And this is key because the Olympic Games, if you want to get to the podium, you do not prepare in 2 years or even 3 years. You must take at least 4 years to completely have a focused training and a conditioned training that will see you get to the medal table. But for Nigeria, we always wait till the last moment to train. If you remember, the Team Nigeria contingent, only just about 3 weeks to the Olympics, that's when they were entered into camp. And from their camp, they did proceed to Paris. This looks very disturbing. Yes, there are different stages of preparation, but the prelude to this preparation was not strong enough for Team Nigeria. And so by the time they got to Germany for camping, just about 3 weeks to the Olympic Games, I'm not too sure that was enough for the contingent in the 12 sports discipline which Nigeria entered at the Olympic Games. So I think the way we prepare should be key. Most nations prepare for Olympic Games in decades, at least 12 years to prepare. And that's both us on how the age of the athletes. We need to discover athletes young so that by the time you prepare them over a period of at least 12 years, they will be ready to climb the podium at the Olympic Games through their performances. But that is not what we do here in Nigeria. So the sports minister has quite a lot to do. It's no longer rhetoric. We've often seen reviews after the competitions like this that do not end up being implemented. So to say there will be review is one thing, 2, the review is another, then 3, the implementations of such review is very, very key. And I just hope that the sports minister will see this through while he's in office, because we have not seen that as well. And of course, they have to come up with recommendations that will help these athletes. First, I like to say, do we have to have the investigation? We really have to, after the investigation, look at what is there in terms of infrastructures and facilities. It is really, really on the downside for us here in Nigeria. Yes, you have to take part in Olympic sports. Then if you have to take part in Olympic sports to get into the podium, then you must have Olympic, qualified facilities. You have to have facilities that will produce athletes that will win at the Olympic Games. Our facilities are shabby, and do I say some of them most outdated, so I don't think we have the facilities good enough to producing Olympic stars. So I think that is one area too where we have to look at. Apart from investigation, we have to look for facilities, that is of production of quality Olympic stars. And then when we have the facilities, then talk about facilities is really disturbing most times, because if you look at it, a country like Morocco is in the last 2 decades have ensured that they provide facilities that are top-notch, and that's why they are dominating in most sports disciplines here in Africa, because they consciously first get the facilities, discover the talents, then use these facilities for these talents, and they are beginning to reap up from it. And then apart from the facilities, of course, you have to take care of the administrators. Most of the administrators, their knowledge of the sports is not up to date. So I think administrators need to be trained on how to administer the sports. The coaches and the athletes have to be trained on how to use the facilities. That if you have the facilities, if you don't have, yes, you have to keep taking them abroad where the facilities are to hone them. But like I said, the administrators need an up-to-date knowledge of modern trends in sports. The athletes need to be trained. They need to first discover, train over a period of time. And the coaches themselves as well have to update their knowledge. Most of the coaches are short on the modern trends in their respective sports disciplines. So I think government and the ministry has to be very clear on training the coaches. Of course, if they don't have top knowledge, then they often will fall short at the end of the day. Modern sports involves a lot of marketing, and I think there's need for this marketing to be in place. If this marketing is in place, then there is good management. I'm sure we'll return to the medals table again in the Olympic Games, but if we ignore these areas, I'm sure it will be difficult to get to the medals table. But what do I know? I'm sure the sports minister and those concerned with this investigation must be listening and watching to know what to do in the days ahead. But Nigerians across have continued to react to this very medallist position of the just concluded Olympic Games, and especially if you remember one man who had been, to the Olympics and of course know what it means to win a medal. Enyefe Odobong, who was part of the 4x400 meters relay goal team at the Olympic Games that was held in Sydney, described the country's failure to win any medal at the Paris 2024 Games, concluded yesterday as a result of having incompetent administrators and inadequate preparation. Of course, I've talked about that here, and I think Odobong is very clear there. Odobong himself was in Paris as the technical director of the Saudi Athletic Development body, and that shows you what we talk about. Somebody who is knowledgeable, who can administer the sports. He's not being taken serious here in Nigeria. He's been employed by the Saudi Arabian Sports Ministry, and he was there in Paris himself as an administrative, technical person for the Saudi Federation. And of course, he's saying here that leadership have lost their trend in the world of sports when it concerns with Nigeria. This man, who of course we know him for that anchor leg of the 4x400 meters relay event, which eventually saw Nigeria winning silver, updated to gold. He's of the opinion that you really have to ensure that the administrators are up to date, and that will help in seeing that what they administer will result into medals at the end of the Olympic Games. So I think we really have a long way to go. If we have bright people like Odobong, they are being employed outside. Of course, there was the issues of athletes, most Nigerian athletes, not being taken serious by administrators. They went to other countries. We saw Nigerian athletes winning gold medals, for the United States of America, winning for Bahrain and some other countries. In fact, Nigerians have been responsible for 4 gold medals for their respective adopted countries. These 4 gold medals should have come to Nigeria. There are over 9 silver medals won by Nigerians for the other countries. So I think if we have competent administrators, leadership in place at the sports ministry, at the respective federations, they will be able to know how to discover these talents and of course harness them for medals. But with a nation where there are poor administration, and because of this poor administration, athletes choose to go to where they are recognized and they win medals. Like I said, Nigerians were responsible for 4 gold medals, 9 silver, and I think about 3 bronze medals for other countries. So this medal should have been for Nigeria at the end of the day. But again, because of poor administration, these athletes choose to go to represent their country. There's a clear case of where we saw, a Nigerian. That was, I think, in the last Olympic Games in Tokyo. She was not registered because of poor handling of out of competition tests. So after the 2021 Olympic Games, she chose to go to represent Bahrain, and yes, truly, she won medal for Bahrain, and several other examples to cite there. So I think administration is key, and if we do proper administration, competent leadership, I'm sure we have the talents here in Nigeria and abroad as well to compete, and win medals for Nigeria. So it's left with the sports ministry to do what is right, and then, like I said, to know what is right is one. Then two, to implement those right decisions is very key. If we don't implement them, if we just know them and leave them like every other review we have done after every Olympic, because like I said, we've been in Olympics since about 7 years now. Every time we come back, we'll review, but do we really implement, take the implementation of those reviews very seriously? That would be key. Well, I think that will be enough. If those who have ears can hear. We'll take a break now. When we return from the break, we'll still bring you how the medal table looks like at the end of the Olympic Games just concluded in Paris, especially the African countries, and from Africa, of course, look at how the overall medal table for the rest of the world came about, and of course has been at the end of the competition. So we'll take a break now. When we return from the break, we'll look at the medal table. Beyond that, football is started across Europe with the Community Shield decided in England. So we'll look at how and it ended yesterday at the Community Shield at the Wembley Stadium. Details of this and of course many more will be yours when we return from a break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable
You are a human
On the point of
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
so no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and I will bring you the latest happening around the world of sports, where especially the Olympic Games that just got concluded a few hours ago with Team Nigeria emerging medalists at the end of 16 days of competition. While Team Nigeria did not have any medal, I can tell you that 12 other African countries made it to the medals table. Yes, 12 other African countries made it to the medals table, and without Nigeria making it being among the 12 nations, and that's awful and woeful if you ask me. We've just been joined by Mike. Mike, nice to have you on Sports Talk.
Always a pleasure. Good morning to our viewers out there. Always a pleasure doing this with you, sir.
Well, talking about Nigeria's outing at the Olympic Games, which has been described as shameful, they did not emerge on the medal table, but 12 other African countries were there on the medals table overall. Kenya leading the number of African countries on the medals table with 4 gold medals, 2 silver and bronze. That's a total of 11 to finish 17th overall in the world. Over 200 countries, of course, participated. Kenya finishing 17th. Kenya did not disappoint the expectations of Africans around the world.
Yeah, from the perspective of the continent of Africa, you will say that Kenya did not disappoint overall, finishing 17th out of over 200 countries that took part in this very one. But then I still think that it falls short of the expectation from the African continent as a whole. Because if you take a look at the medals table, especially for African countries, aggregate all the medals that African countries won, it's not even up to 30 in overall. And you compare and contrast that with what China or even Korea did, I mean, we still have a miles to go. So in as much as we are happy that Kenya were able to wipe up the shame from the continent of Africa's face, but then it's still not, good enough for my own standard. Taking a look at the performance of Team Africa generally, it is not good enough compared to what others, even Great Britain, we can't even compare it to a quarter, or 1/4 of what Great Britain won out there. So in all, I think it was a total disastrous outing for African continent, to say the least. Take a look at what Asians are doing. Korea is up there in the medals log. China up there, fighting very hard. These are Asian countries, and you expect us at least to match up with other continents out there. Winning 5, which is the highest for an African country, Kenya, I think is poor. Like I said, if you aggregate all the medals won by African countries out there, it's not even up to 30. So for me, I think it's generally disappointing for the continent of Africa, not to even talk about the disastrous outing of Team Nigeria.
Disastrous for Team Nigeria, disappointing for Africa. Kenya, the country with the most win at the just concluded Paris Olympic Games, has 4 gold medals, and overall they had 11 after garnering others in the color of silver and bronze. So that's the way it looks. Disappointing overall, but then it's something to take home. 4 gold medals for Algeria, for Kenya at the Olympic Games. Algeria came second on the medals table for Africa because they placed joint 39 in the world with 2 gold medals, 1 bronze. That's a total of 3. No silver for Algeria there. South Africa came third with a total haul of 6 medals, 1 gold, 3 silver and 2 bronze. Ethiopia was next with 1 gold, 3 silver, while Egypt and Tunisia were overall in the world 52 with a total of 3 medals, each comprising of 1 gold, 1 silver and 1 bronze medal. Botswana and Uganda were on the medals table without Nigeria getting to the medals table. Botswana at least had 2 medals, and Uganda had 2 medals each, which was 1 gold and 1 silver, for me respectable. Morocco had 1 gold and 1 bronze, while Cote d'Ivoire alongside Cape Verde. Yeah. Botswana, Cape Verde, Zambia on the medals table without Nigeria. But that looks respectable enough. Out of 205 countries that were at the Olympic Games participating, we saw 12 on the medals table for Nigeria. Wow. This is, for Africa, this is, well, you might say good enough because of our standard, but like you mentioned, we really have to compete with the other continents of the world.
True. We really have to contend with other continents of the world. In as much as we saw, countries that you naturally don't even expect them to go there, and they pull any surprise. Countries like Zambia, Zimbabwe, doing one or two things out there, at least making sure that they register their presence at this year's Paris Olympic Games. It's an encouraging one, but then generally, is it good enough for the continent of Africa? Not good enough compared to what other continents, is doing out there. So for me, I think it's time for us to come back, take a total appraisal of our performance out there, not just Nigeria, but other African countries out there who also went for this year's Paris Olympic Game and couldn't deliver as we expected them. We need to take a total appraisal of what we went out there to do, and sober reflect and chart a course for a way forward, because this is not our best outing. We can do more come year, next time if we truly prepare. Don't forget, some of these countries doing pretty well. They actually started their preparation 4 or 5 years ago, preparing for this festivity of sport activity. But then countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, we were just waiting until the dying minute before we start preparing. How do you want to compete favorably and effectively with other countries that have been preparing for 3 years down the line, only for you to start your own preparation in less than 6 months, and you think you want to go out there and beat them? It doesn't work that way. The system must be overhauled. We must take a critical look at the process as well. There are some mistakes that we also committed that also cost some of these athletes their inability to give their all. For example, the likes of Favor Philly, we talked about her name not being included in the 100-meter. Why? What are the reasons? The cyclists that took part, you had some issues that, or some news that we were unable to provide the requisite bicycle for him to take part in that. We had to even go liaise with a German to borrow, a bicycle from them. So these are things that we must correct if we truly want to, make headways in the next edition of Paris Olympic Games. And preparation should start from now. We don't wait until maybe we are getting closer to the action and we'll start preparing. No, it doesn't work out that way. So Africa, we need a long way to go, and we must start preparing so that we can be able to change the narrative and put ourselves in a pole position to compete favorably well against other continents.
Well, Africa, they're not doing so well, or have not done so well. It needs early preparation. Well, of course, I talked about facilities, proper funding for athletes, coaches, and administrators is key, are key as well to get into a respectable position on the medals table. But Africa, 12 countries from Africa out of the 205 countries that went to the Olympic Games were able to register their name on the medals table. But overall, now let's look at the medals table. United States of America seem to be very consistent. They've done this consistently in the last 5 Olympic Games, and they were able to win again back-to-back as the leaders of the medals at the last Olympics. 40 gold medal, that was respectable enough. Yes, we saw China as well getting another 40 gold medal, but gold, yes, matters. Yeah. But overall, in terms of medals, United States of America had over 130 medals, 139, I think, overall, edging out China, who had just about 74 or so overall medals. But it was 40-40, so giving United States of America another leadership in the world of sports.
It's a clear demonstration of their long-term planning and their deliberate quest or attempt towards revamping or reviving or sustaining their massive feat over the years in terms of the Olympic game, because they don't wait until maybe 6 weeks or even 1 year before they start preparation. And of course, they've also been able to provide the needed infrastructure. Administrative-wise, they are also good in that angle. And they talk about preparation, they are also there. Harnessing talents that have potential, they also keep their nose on the ground to keep monitoring some of these young talented athletes out there. And that is how they get to churn out talent over the years to, continue on the high standard that they have set for themselves. So for me, I think it's not surprising. Then again, he talked about the fact that there are sports that is relatively unknown by some countries, but then they vehemently invest into some of those areas to ensure that that at least they make their presence fair. Because most of these medals, gold, silver, bronze, that some countries get to achieve, it comes from relatively an unknown sport. You talk about the hammer throw, you talk about coiling, you talk about diving. Even Ludo that we play here for, for fun, it is also included in this year's Paris Olympic game. But then we don't take advantage of it. So it boils down to the fact that they are taking advantage of other sport that is relatively unknown, and that is why they keep churning out medals in different angle of sport. But for we just concentrate on the one that we feel, yes, this is popular sport. Then every other sport, nobody cares about it. Even the one that we think that is a popular sport, how well have we been able to fund it? So for me, having United States of America and China dominating the medal slug, it is not surprise, because this is the effort or the evidence of their long-term planning. But for China as well, you also give it to China, because they did pretty well competing against United States of America, going toe-to-toe against America. Right from the first day, they were just changing baton. You see that China takes the first position today, tomorrow US will topple them. So it continues. So we must also give China some kudos for what they did as well. Not also forgetting countries like France, Great Britain, United States, Canada, to mention, but the 5 countries that topped the medal log, they did a whole lot. And of course, for me, we truly need to take a cue from what these countries are doing. What are they doing specifically that we are not doing? If we take a cue from what they are doing, I think we can start planning so that we'll get it right next time.
United States of America leaders have just concluded Olympic Games with 40 gold medals. China has the same number of medals, but like we said, overall, United States of America had more medals than China. And I think basketball made the difference there. Of course, we know that on that last day, the Chinese were praying that maybe France will be able to beat United States of America women's team, but they won that. And like we said, they have areas of concentration. Basketball, they won both the gold for male and female. That match yesterday gave them that age, because it could have been 39 gold medal for United States, and of course they will come second. But the prayers of the Chinese didn't work there. But congratulations to China. I think they won overall 91 medals as compared to 126 won by United States of America. Thereafter, it's yet another South Asian country, Japan, that came third with 20 gold medals, 12 silver, and 13 bronze medals, a whole of 45.
Impressive from the continent of Asia out there, making their presence felt as well. I think it's something that I keep saying, that this boils down to long-time planning. You don't just wake up one day, I think you want to go and compete favorably well against some of these big countries without adequate funding, without adequate preparation. So for me, I think for China, the continent of Asia is a massive one for them, and we hope that other continents as well will start taking example from what the Asian continent is doing.
Away from Asia, Australia, while still around, got 4th place with 18 gold medals, 19 silver, and 16 bronze, a whole of 53. Host nation France came 5th with 16 gold medals, 26 silver, and 22 bronze. That's a whole of 64. And I think it is the much we can take around the Olympic Games. We hope we can bring you further review of the Olympic Games and its highlights on our program Sports Extraordinary at 6 p.m. Nigerian time, where we'll take more look at it. But like we said, it wasn't a good news at all. The Olympics for Team Nigeria, and I hope we will not take this into the Paralympic Games, which is up next in the next few days. Kingsley. Mike.
We hope so. If they have learned any lesson at all from this disastrous outing this year's Paralympic game, then it would be hopes on them to start preparing so as to change the ugly narrative of not winning a medal this year's Paralympic game. So for me, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that the authority have learned their lesson, especially for the sport minister who came into office, and you expected him, at least in his first outing, in the first major outing under his administration, we should have been able to do a lot, at least to announce his presence, because of the effort that he has put in so far since he came on board. Let's hope we'll start preparing seriously right now for that very one.
Talking about preparations, Team Nigeria, the Paralympic Games are expected to be in camp in Germany any moment soon. I think today they should be in camp today in Germany. The Paralympic athletes have always given Nigeria, respectable position at the games. In fact, the para athletes have won more medals than the able-bodied athletes. These Olympic Games in Paris, these Paralympic Games in Paris, we are expecting to see Nigerian para athletes take part in para athletics. They will take part in para badminton. They will take part in para powerlifting, power table tennis. A breakdown shows that athletics has 5 athletes, badminton 2, powerlifting will have 9, then table tennis will have 8. This contingent, I understand, are airborne to Germany, Saarbrücken in Germany, and they are expected to arrive in the next 6 hours or so. Like I mentioned, we've often had more medals in Paralympics than in the able-bodied Olympic Games. So I hope it's still alive with these para-athletes expected to be in action in just about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, definitely. When you talk about the para-athletes of Nigeria, they've always been doing us proud out there compared to their able-bodied counterpart. Overall, if you go through the history or record, you discover that para-athletes have been able to deliver to the country about a total of 80 medals. Para-athletes in their history of taking part in the Paralympic Games. 80 medals in overall. That include about 40 gold, 19 silver, and 21 gold. 21 bronze. A total of 80. That is how much they've been doing pretty well for the country. And if you talk about their able-bodied counterpart, it's a total of 27 medals in all in the history of taking part in the Olympic game. So for me, I think they've always done us proud. But you talk about the reward system between the Paralympians and the able-bodied counterpart. The reward system is too different. The disparity between them and the able-bodied counterpart is too different. We don't even care for them the way we care for this, able-bodied counterpart. But yet, these are the people that have always done us proud. So, over the years, we need to take a critical look at their funding, taking a look at how, we cater for these para-athletes who have done the nation's proud. So for me, I have no doubt that at least they are going to replicate the same form that we've seen them over the years.
We would like to wish the Paralympians, the athletes, the best of luck as they prepare final stage towards the Olympic Games, Paralympic Games that gets underway in just about 10 days or so from now. Let's go to football now and talk about football. Reminds me that the Edo Queens, Nigeria's representative at the WAFU Group B region of the CAF Women Champions League, started on a very good note yesterday. They catapulted, they beat their team. They played after a goalless draw we saw in the first leg match. They were able to hammer their opponents in the return leg fixture. Yeah,
very impressive display from Edo Queen, and I think I have trust in them. Taking a look at what they played last season, if they can continue in that their last season performance, I tell you there's a light at the end of the tunnel for us. You saw how they fought with Rivers Angels for the league title to ensure that they dethrone Rivers United and make that one count. So if they continue with that impressive form we saw of them last season, then I think there's hope for us going forward.
Talking about hope, is this the week where the Super Eagles will have a new coach?
It's another big question because NFF has been going back and forth on who actually to appoint as the substantive coach of the Super Eagles, whether it is Satif that they were talking about, or the ex-French women.
We have just about 21 days or so to the
qualification of
about 3 weeks to the qualifier.
Yes, for African Cup of Nations. Yet no substantive coach. I think for me, it's a big challenge. You talked about the likes of Javi Renard in time past, but NFF came out to debunk that rumor, saying that they had no issue. But then it has come up again in the front burner the last two days that we are going for, either Javi Renard, who have also tabled his amount. He's saying that if we want to get him, we need to cough out the sum of $120,000 for monthly for him. And for me, I think NFF, can they be able to cough out such amount? I don't know if they can. But then if you want to go for a coach that can help us get the result, I think if you take a look at the profile, of Javi Renard, I think he has what it takes because he's a man who truly understands the African football. Don't forget, in 2013, he led the Chipolopolo of Zambia to win the African Cup of Nations. As though that was not good enough, he also led the Ivory Coast in 2015.
Well, we don't have to bother ourselves about it. Let's hope that the NFF will know who to appoint and appoint the person straight away, because there's a lot of work to do ahead of the qualifier. We stumbled last time and we don't want to stumble again. But we are not preparing well. If we're up to 3 weeks to a qualifier, we don't have a coach. Then we shouldn't complain if we don't get the results that we need at the Gospel Aquabio Stadium when they come up against their opponent. We have to begin to wrap up the show now, but quickly we'll go to Europe. And in Europe, the preparation for the 2024-2025 football season are already underway and started with the Community Shield that was decided at the Wembley Stadium at the weekend. We saw Manchester City overpower Manchester United by 7-6 on penalties after a 1-1 draw in regulation time. Manchester City ready for the new season?
Yeah, they are ready. Like you saw out there, and that is why you saw them coming back very late. So you get that equalizer that actually made it 1-1, and they actually went to penalty shootout. And the game of penalty can go either way. That is what happened. But for Manchester United, I think they still need some work to do as well, because don't forget what happened to them last season. They failed to kill off game, especially at the dying minute. They led Manchester City in the Community Shield at the nick of time, about 80-something minutes, less than 8 minutes to go. They allowed Manchester City to draw a level and taking the game to penalty. They should have won that one easily. So I think game management is still something that Erik ten Hag needs to work on.
Well, we'll talk a lot more about the season that gets underway this weekend, the return of football to Europe, especially England, where the Premier League starts in just about 6 days from now. There's a lot to get you informed about, but for now, we'd like to sign off and return back at 6 p.m. when we will continue to bring you highlights of the Olympic Games and how teams are getting prepared for the new season. Players are still being moving from club to club. There could be coaches' movement as well. But wait till 6 p.m. when we'll fill you in. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.